Hi, in this video you will learn how to do the wiring for a steering wheel with illuminated buttons on the Mazda MX-5 NB Miata. I will show the process and the result, and I will also explain how you could modify the color of the lighting behind the buttons on the steering wheel. In a previous video I explained how you can upgrade the clock spring. And now we will benefit from that upgrade because we need to add some additional wires that connect the lighting in the steering wheel with the wiring loom on the car. In order to get this wired up correctly, we need to understand both sides, meaning the side of the car and the side of the steering wheel. Let's start with the car. The Mazda MX-5 NB Miata has a panel light control switch as part of the interior light system. This is a switch you use to control the intensity of the illumination. So it acts like a dimmer function. You can make it less bright or more bright using this switch. The wiring from the switch goes to all of the illuminated parts in the interior except for the dome light. From the front, the panel light control switch looks the same for all NBs, but two versions are used. The switch with the black housing and transparent bulb is for the early NB. It emits green light. The switch with the grey housing and the bulb with an amber cap is for the NB2 and emits red light. All illuminated interior parts are connected in parallel to this switch via a red with black wire and the grey with red wire. Our next step is to understand which wire goes where in the clock spring connector. The 8-pin connector that is used in the clock spring is the same for the Mazda 6, CX-7, RX-8 and MX-5 NC Miata. The pinout is also the same for all of these steering wheels. Sometimes the pinout goes from A to H, and in other diagrams it goes from 1 to 8. We need the two wires in the center. We must connect pin D or 4 with the red with black wire and pin E or 5 with the grey with red wire. Since I had a spare panel light control switch, a battery and some wires at hand, I was able to do a quick test. To be honest, that was when I found out that the lights in the steering wheel are red. I did not know if they would be red or green. Red is good news for me because it matches the interior lighting of the facelifted NBs. When you reach behind the dashboard, you can press in the tabs on the sides of the panel light control switch and push the switch out to the front. After disconnecting the plug, I guided the wires in front of the fuse box to have more space when working with the wires in this connector. This time I decided to splice into the wires. I did not cut the original wires, just removed part of the insulation and wrapped the new wires around it. Instead of soldering the wires, I decided to crimp them together. There are various ways to make this connection, so choose whatever you prefer. I proceeded with some shrink tubing that was wide enough to go past the terminals on these wires. Not the ideal size, but at least it's safe. The alternative is to use tape. Putting the wires back at the right location in the connector completed the work at the side of the panel light control switch. On the other end, the wires need to be connected to the clock spring. Therefore, I used pieces of wire with the correct terminals for the clock spring connector. After using shrink tubing and a cable sleeve, the wires were plugged into the clock spring connector. As you can see, there are only two wires that are not connected to the car yet. Those two wires are for the cruise control system and for a different video. That is still work in progress. And this is the result. Coming back to the color of the lights in the steering wheel. For all the proposed steering wheels, the color of the illumination is red. Knowing that the early MBs had green interior lighting, this might not be an ideal combination. But on the other hand, some people may already have changed the color of their illumination in their dashboards, or they couldn't care less, but we'll have a look at it anyway. So let's find a solution for those people that have green interior lighting and would like also the steering wheel to emit green light. When we take a closer look at the printed circuit boards behind these buttons, then we can identify the individual LEDs. According to a friend, these are SMD 3020 LEDs. SMD is an abbreviation for Surface Mounted Device. That is referring to how they are mounted onto the printed circuit board, so they stay on top of it. They don't have pins that go through the printed circuit board. If you want to change the color of these lights, you will have to replace the LEDs for LEDs that emit the color of your choice. So that could be green, but could also be blue. I know some people use blue. So if you look at the availability, then finding SMD 3020 LEDs should not be too hard. For your convenience, I have also checked what is on the printed circuit boards of the switches for the Mazda CX-7, MX-5 and C Miata and the Mazda RX-8, and they all appear to be using the same type of LEDs as the ones we've seen on the Mazda 6. I hope this video helps you and inspires you to take on tasks like these and have some fun making small upgrades to your car. The installation of the Mazda 6 cruise control on my car is needed to complete the experiment, so that we are able to use all of the buttons on the steering wheel. I will cover that in a future video. If you liked this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching MX5 Info.